Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dutch live stream. It's week 4, and I'm here with Dr. Kate Eldon, the Chief Medical Officer at Dutch, and we are Dutch Online Vet. You can talk to a vet anytime, 24/7, get your prescriptions fulfilled. And today's episode, we are going to be talking about flea and tick, the hot topic. Before I do, maybe Dr. Kate, do you want to share your background? Not everyone knows about us, so we should share it.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. My name's Dr. Kate Eldon. I'm a licensed veterinarian and chief medical officer at Dutch. My history is in all sorts of the veterinary medicine world. I started doing equine practice and then shifted to dogs and cats, doing a lot of dog and cat rehab, actually. And then worked in private practice, general practices, both private and corporate, and then was a practice leader and medical director at a hospital for a while before shifting, just falling in love with telemedicine, really, and shifting towards building telemedicine programs. And I'm really excited to be at Dutch because I feel like we are building something really big to help improve access to care for pets all across the country. And I feel like it's what I was born to do. So I'm excited to be here helping pets on the platform and helping pets at scale.
Today's episode is really focused on flea and ticks and itch, and we are in the thick of it. It's July and ticks are everywhere. And we have gotten so many questions from our viewers. So I'm super excited to get to them on this Dutch live stream. We have a special promo code for those joining. If you go to Dutch.com and use itchy50, that's ITCHY 50, itchy50, you get $50 off your membership. I should say, when you go to Dutch, you get up to 5 pets on the platform. You can talk to a vet same day, 24/7. And if you use Itchy50, it'll be $50 to give us a try. Okay, so we're going to start with some basics, Dr. Kate. The first question is, can flea and ticks on my dog bite me too?
Yeah.
And I know, like, as a as a pet owner, and I've seen fleas on Eddie. I remember it was March when I really started to see it, and it, icks me out, of course. And I feel like those, the ticks can just jump from them to me. So I'm sure people are worried about ticks biting their dogs, but they're probably worried about getting bit as well.
Yes, and I'm always trying to be sensitive to. I mean, I talk about fleas and ticks all day long, so I've become a little a nerd to it. I'm used to it, but for most of us, like when you hear or see fleas and ticks on your pet, like your skin starts crawling and getting itchy, just like thinking about it. So that's real. And fleas and ticks, to answer the question, yes, they can absolutely hop from your pet and they can bite and infect people as well. So that's part of why it's important. And one thing that I just like, so we're not alarmists here. We want to call out that we have really good prescription parasite preventatives to treat and prevent these infestations. It's part of the movement, even that I've seen in my lifetime, of pets moving from kind of like outside animals to inside our homes, to inside our bedrooms and in our beds even. What's allowed that to be possible are these prescription preventative products that keep the fleas and ticks off of pets so that we're not getting infected by them as we, have these like close bonds with them.
Okay, this one, I actually love this one because I think Dutch is made for it. Gilbert Sandoval asks, I just need flea and tick preventative and heartworm preventative scripts for my 4 dogs, which I can I mean, actually, I cannot imagine taking 4 dogs into a brick and mortar vet, especially for flea and tick. That is something you've already received in the past. How can I get them through Dutch? So maybe kind of, walk through an appointment for someone who's coming in with 4 dogs onto the Dutch platform.
Yeah, I love this. And so we can absolutely treat your dogs, Gilbert. We can treat your dogs on the Dutch platform. The good news is one membership will you can sign up all of your pets on one membership. So you get up to 5 pets in your house. So we can take care of all 4 of your dogs on one membership, and you would sign up and you'll enter their names and their weight and their birthday. And then you create a call, book a call that works with your schedule, book separate calls for each one of your pets. And then you'll hop on a video visit with a veterinarian. And the veterinarian is going to be licensed in your state. So they're going to be an expert on what are the local most important things that you need to look out for, like ticks and ticks that are carrying Lyme disease or Ehrlichia and anaplasma are more common in certain parts of the country. And fleas are more common in certain parts of the country, but fleas are really everywhere. But the veterinarian that you see on your visit is going to be licensed in your state, so they're going to be an expert in your local area. And they'll talk you through like a personalized plan for each one of your dogs. And that's part of, I think, what's so important about having a relationship with a vet is that you're going to get this personalized plan and make sure that the product that you're choosing is the best fit for your pet. And then they'll make a recommendation for flea, tick, and heartworm preventatives. And within hours, that will be in your cart, and you just click how you want it shipped. So you can get free shipping, which is 2 to 3 days, or you could get express shipping, which is usually within the day. And you'll get a follow-up message that's like a summary. So you need to memorize everything your vet said. You'll get a summary right afterwards as well, where your vet's going to make recommendations for your pet. And then, yeah, you'll get your medication. You'll open your door, and your medications will be on your doorstep, and you administer them as the vet recommended. What did I leave out?
20% off. Maybe you said that. You get 20% off flea and tick on Dutch.com. And then if you use the code FleaTick20. And then the other thing this just launched is we're having, with someone who has 4 dogs, our appointments have multi-pet options. It used to be that if you go to Dutch, you had to show 1 pet at a time. But now people can have all 4 pets on one appointment, and that can save a ton of time for you. And the vet, gets to really see how all the animals and you interact together. Okay, next question. I actually did my homework on this one before the call. So someone said, Kimberly Ann Mosley said, can you prescribe Bravecto? This is all we use. The cost for a 95-pound dog, so I can just compare before joining. And on Dutch.com, Bravecto for a 95-pound dog, it's $84.99 per month. We price match, and like just said earlier, if you use the code FleaTick20, you get an additional 20% off. So that's Bravecto. Did I miss anything on that?
I don't think so. Yeah.
What's the biggest dog you have ever treated as a veterinarian?
Ooh, the biggest dog that I've ever treated. Ooh, that's a good question. I know I've had to go above the weight classes for most of the flea and tick preventatives. Like some of them go all the way up to 120. I believe it was oh gosh, it's a different version of a mastiff. I'm blanking on the name, but the dog was like 175 pounds.
Wow.
Huge pet. And I treated them on telemedicine, of course. The alert that popped up in the chart for this pet when I went on the electronic medical record was caution, this dog will unexpectedly lunge and bite. And I looked at it on the notes, and it also had a adverse reaction to one of the sedatives that we often give pets to relieve anxiety when they come into the clinic. And I looked at it, and I had to do a double take at the weight, because I was like, how much does this dog weigh? And so I was positively reinforcing for the veterinary team in the hospital that this is a great pet to see on a telemedicine appointment, because for so many reasons. Um, but we managed this dog's allergies, like they were getting hot spots. This giant dog was getting hot spots and getting ear infections. And then he had to do he was moving to Japan. So he had to do all of this like pre-travel. A lot of it required in-person visits, but what we were able to do was prescribe safe at-home anti-anxiety medications for him to give before having to go into the vet and consolidate those. And that type of dog is a great dog to see on telemedicine, to really like do everything we can at home and minimize the stress for everybody when they go into the clinic. And this poor pet parent, I love this owner. He was so sweet, and he was really aware of that it was hard for the veterinary team to see his dog in the clinic too. And I could tell, like, I felt for him. He felt a little shame that his dog had been had been naughty, but it was all coming from fear, right? He adopted the dog, probably had some trauma. So a lot of what I did was talking to him about, like, this isn't anybody's fault. This is I talk about those kind of like fear, aggression behaviors, like a weed in a garden. It's like a perfectly healthy plant, just not where we want it. Like that behavior that when a dog is expressing fear and some signs of aggression, it's actually, they're just trying to communicate with the tools that they have. So trying to remove shame from the conversation for him.
And this goes back to the ability for pet parents to talk to a human professional licensed veterinarian in a dynamic back and forth conversation. When we started Dutch, kind of the main takeaway we wanted is for people to feel relief, for their pets to feel relief, for the pet parent to feel relief. And having been in the same boat with an anxious dog, it is such relief to have the tools to feel normalized, to feel like there's a professional who's guiding you through the conversation. I totally feel like what you're saying is resonating so much.
Yeah, I remember seeing the relief in that pet parent's face when, I was like, oh, we're going to be able to take care of this. And he was a really smart and successful person. It was, for him, it wasn't actually about like, I can't afford to go in. It was, I want to do the best thing for my dog and the safest thing. And he was surprised when I told him, hey, I can actually ship you an ear swab so that you can do the test, so that we can, practice really good medicine at home. Right. And so he was able to do some testing, and he understood the science and was like excited about being able to do those diagnostic tests at home too.
All right. For those joining us, we are Dutch Online Vet. We're talking about itchy pets today because we are in the middle of flea and tick season, and we are asking questions from our viewer. We're answering questions from our viewers with Dr. Kay Eldon, the Chief Medical Officer at Dutch. So, okay, this one's funny because we were just talking about Bravecto. So the next question from Linda Koch said, he's very sensitive and can only take Bravecto. How about flea and tick medication? How do you, when someone's coming to Dutch and they're asking about any brand, Bravecto, Credelio, NexGard, Simparica Trio, how do you guide them on a brand? Is it that if they've been taking a brand that and it works for them, then they should just kind of keep taking that? Um, we were also on the other hand talking about um, larger dogs. Like, does that come into play for flea
Mhm.
and tick? The other thing is, and this was on our last stream, we were talking about kind of multimodality of treatment. There's ingestibles, but there's also topicals too. So it's not, and also like so many things, there's just behavior modification. For example, maybe you don't want to go into an area outside that's full of flea and tick during flea and tick season. Maybe, yeah, there's a lot in there.
These are such good questions because I mean there's a lots of products out there on the market, and I always say the best flea, tick, and heartworm preventative is the one that your pet gets reliably every month or every 3 months for Bravecto. So, there isn't one blanket answer. Otherwise, that's would just be recommending one product all across the board. It has a lot to do with size and weight. We can give oral flea, tick, and heartworm preventative. We can also do topical. There are scenarios when injectable are ideal. So there's a lot of different ways that we can give them. And then also each product has a little bit different coverage. So each product gets different tick species, and this is something, and different intestinal parasites as well. And one thing that you called out that I really want to distinguish for pet parents is um, certain topicals can actually repel fleas and ticks, whereas the orals are going to kill the parasites once they bite. And those are two different things, because your veterinarian might be recommending a monthly oral, and you still see some, like the occasional tick after a hike. And that does not mean that that oral is not working. Actually, the tick has to bite the pet in order to ingest the medication, and then it will die within the time frame of that medication, usually within a day or two. And that window of time is not long enough to transmit those diseases, those tick-borne diseases that we worry about. So that's how that medication works. But there are topical medications that will repel the ticks from even getting on your pet, or as soon as they get on, they hop off. And if you're in an area where there's a heavy load of fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, your veterinarian might very well recommend more than one product to layer on an oral and a topical for the repellency factor. And both are good. I do that in heavy flea and tick areas as well. So there are a lot of factors that go to answer that question. The best medication is the one that your pet's going to get reliably, and it's like a personalized plan you should really make with a veterinarian. There are over-the-counter products, but they're not as reliable as the prescription product. And I would say also, I get this question, I saw it come up when it comes to tapeworms and intestinal parasites. Tapeworms especially are linked to fleas. Fleas actually carry the tapeworm egg packets. So if your dog is itchy and they scratch and they groom themselves and they ingest a flea, that's how they get tapeworms. And you're not ever going to be able to clear the tapeworm infection unless you also treat for fleas. And that means treating all the pets in the household. So if you just do one, the one that you see the fleas on, and the others are going to be the reservoir, and you're going to keep getting fleas, you can keep getting tapeworms, and nobody wants that.
We got a question just now on our IG Live. My doggie scoots her boots on the carpet and still her glands were expressed. Could my neighbor's grass be affecting her?
Yes, that sounds like an anal gland issue. So I'll start by explaining what anal glands are. That seems like a good place, because I came from equine medicine. Like, I worked with horses, and I joke with other veterinarians, like, when I learned about what AI was, it meant that my arm was like, for all the large animal veterinarians out there, my arm was up one end of the horse, and we were trying to get that race horse or that breeding mare pregnant. It's called artificial insemination. And so AI, when we like as a large animal vet or as like a cattle vet, when we think about AI, I'm like, that's what I think about. Like I trained in equine and large animal breeding. It's the reality. So when I switched to working with dogs and cats, um, and stopped driving my truck around the countryside, I was like, anal glands? Remind me what those are. So I'm there with you. So dogs have two glands that are on either side of their rectum. You can't see them from the outside. They're usually about the size of a grape, but they sit kind of below, right? It is that at like 4 o'clock and like 8 o'clock around the rectum there. And the glands can fill with fluid. And as you can imagine, based on the area, it's really smelly, really smelly fluid, and it's oily. And for some reason, some dogs will get these glands that will fill up more frequently than others. Like, and dog parents notice, like if your dog has anal glands that fill up frequently, you usually know. Some pet parents never have to deal with this. And I
Is
mean,
it a
they're so lucky.
is it more common in certain breeds?
Less about the breed, more about each particular dog. So we think, there's a lot of different reasons why we think anal glands can be more active in certain dogs. Sometimes it's dietary. So sometimes we will go through different elimination diets or hypoallergenic diets. I tend to see dogs with more anal gland issues when their overall skin is really itchy, like a dog with allergies, environmental allergies, food allergies also goes in there. So if their skin is really irritated, oftentimes their glands will fill up more quickly. Sometimes it's thought to be due to fiber or not having enough fiber in their diet.
Mm.
So if their stool isn't bulky enough, then they won't express the glands a little bit each time they poop on their own, and they might need a little bit more fiber in their diet to help. If we knew the reason why some dogs, like why anal glands are full in dogs, like then there would be one solution. But we think that there are these various reasons why it can get full. So could it be grass that's irritating your dog? It could be. Some dogs have allergies to certain grasses, and that might be setting off their skin and causing their anal glands to be full. But it could be several other things. So I don't want to say that, it's just one thing. I would go through the list of you could try adding a little bit of fiber, over the counter psyllium. Talk to your vet about the dose of over the counter psyllium. You could try that. Could also try an elimination diet. And then just treating underlying allergies, because dogs react to environmental allergies through their skin. They get itchy skin. We think about environmental allergies for us as like watery eyes, runny nose, sneezing, coughing, and dogs can do that too, but they primarily show their allergies through their skin, through itchy skin. So the first sign is like licking their paws. That's the first sign of itch. Oftentimes you'll see like brown saliva staining on their paws. Like they're always a tell sign. Like if their paws are brown, they've been licking, even if they're doing it when you're not in the room. We can look at their paws and tell that that's a sign that they're itchy from allergies. So that's often something that kind of like breaks our brains a little bit, is like, wait, environmental allergies? My dog's nose hasn't been runny, the eyes haven't been runny, but it can show up as itch in dogs.
Um,
I went off on a bit of a tangent there.
no,
Did
no, no.
I answered this question, right?
Oh yeah, it's a
Just to
great
agree.
question. So
Okay.
this you answered it great. This viewer actually said if we're AI or if we're real.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think about that all the time because AI is everywhere. And I feel like James Harriet back in the day. I'm like, when I was in vet school, AI meant artificial insemination, preg checking mares, that kind of a thing. So it's yeah.
We're definitely, I'll have, where's my, I'm trying to find Eddie. Eddie's roaming around somewhere. Eddie, this is like his lounge time. Eddie the Corgi's gonna join our next episode, so join then. But no, we're definitely not AI. Okay, we're Dutch vet. We have real vets who talk to you, and on this episode, we are with our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kate. Okay, we've been talking so much about dogs. We got to talk about cats. And the first cat question I have is this. I have 7 from Twilla Rose. I have 7 stray cats and I need tapeworm medicine for them. How would Dutch work for me?
I have been seeing so many kittens on the platform right now. I just want to say that, right? It's kitten season. So 7 stray cats. I first of all want to say good on you for taking care of 7 stray cats. Oh my gosh. Okay, and you need tapeworm medicine from them. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about stray cats is they're often kind of hard to um, hard to get a hold of, and the traditional topical medications are not always easy for stray cats. So I think about oral tapeworm and flea treatments for these guys. So we can treat up to 5 of those 7 cats with one membership on the Dutch platform, and then the other 2 you'd put under a different membership. And what I would recommend doing is getting a prescription oral like Credelio for the fleas, as well as a prescription oral like Droncit for the tapeworms for these cats. And then you want to make sure, like I would, so I didn't lose track of which ones had gotten the flea and tapeworm treatment. Keep like a little log and a notebook. So you're like, okay, Cheddar got this one, Jack got this one, because it's a lot. That's a lot to keep track of.
Here's one from Monica Stockbridge. How about itchy cats? My kitty has some sort of environmental allergy, and Atopica is just about the only thing that helps. Is there any issue with her continuing on that indefinitely?
Thanks for asking this question, Monica. So cats and allergies are really, I just want to validate that when cats have allergies, it's super frustrating. And they can get itchy, and it's really hard to determine what's causing their itch. So I feel you as a veterinarian, like we're in it with you. Atopica is a great treatment for these cats. So I'm glad that your kitties are on it. They can stay on it and really should stay on it for as long as they need. I would just make sure that you're doing the routine lab work that's recommended when they're on Atopica, just to make sure that they're tolerating the medication well. But what you can do is actually taper that drug down to the lowest effective dose, and give it, instead of every day, every other day, or every 2 days. And I've gotten kitties down to just once or twice a week for Atopica. So that's a strategy, but it's actually better for them to be on a medication that's relieving the itch for them than for them to be suffering.
Okay, more kitty questions. Are you able to treat a newborn kitten? This is from Caitlin Woods. My cat just had 2 babies today.
It's kitten season. So many kittens. Yes, we can absolutely treat newborn kittens. And we love the veterinarians, we love seeing like newborn kittens and puppies on the platform. Yes, yes, absolutely. Things that I think about for newborn puppies and kittens are, well, one, like as soon as you get a new pet or you have a new puppy or kitten, you want to have a relationship with a veterinarian. And I want everybody to have a relationship with a vet, both online and in person. That way you can tackle all the things that you can do at home. And when you need to go in, you also have a veterinarian that you know and have a relationship with in person. And for these newborns and young animals, we think a lot about socialization. And so how to get them used to their environment, used to other animals, um, and really just socialize with their specific environment so that as they grow, they have less issues with anxiety, that you can welcome people into your home comfortably, that you can go on walks comfortably, things like that. So that's really important. Parasite preventatives are super important. Getting a customized plan for your pet, and that's flea, tick, heartworm, and intestinal parasites. So puppies and kittens will get intestinal parasites when they're nursing, and they'll get them from the skin of the mom when they're nursing. And so we recommend serial fecal testing on puppies and kittens, sometimes even 4 during the first year of life. And through Dutch, we can ship you a fecal test cup. So you can do that at home. You can grab a poop sample and send that back into the lab. A lot of the time when it comes to just normal healthy animals, we can collect one poop sample from the litter, because if one of them has worms, then we'll treat all of the
Mhm.
animals. So if you're suspicious that one might have an intestinal parasite or they've got a little bit of diarrhea, ship that one. Let's see. Dewormers, socialization, dental care. How do you brush your pet's teeth at home? Starting that early. Things like nail trims, the things that you want to be able to do with your puppy or kitten later in life, you got to start those early. That's really important. And we can walk you through how to do those things. Those are the main ones that come to mind. Getting them used to having their ears messed with as well. Yeah, getting handled by all different types of people. All that stuff is so important when the animals are young.
Mhm.
And I love that you're like thinking about it early.
Okay, more kittens.
Yay.
AJ Roberts. My kitten's eyes are all matted shut. I have been washing them a couple times a day so they can see. Can you get something for them?
Okay, this is a kitten that I would love to see on a telemedicine visit like today. Um, because so kittens, when they're born, their eyes are actually shut and they open after the first like week or two. By a couple of weeks, their eyes should be open. Um, if they are, if they're older than a couple of weeks, at the point where their eyes should be open and they're like matted shut because they're having a lot of discharge, then there could be something going on with that kitten's eyes. And if we're worried about damage to the cornea, that's an in-person visit without question. Um, so we can do tests to check and see if there's scratches to the cornea. A lot of the time and people don't realize this, but when cats and kittens get upper respiratory viral diseases, they can also get corneal ulcers. They go hand in hand. And so those absolutely do need to be addressed, and we can treat those with an antibiotic ointment. Um, I just I just saw one of these cases yesterday, actually, where it was the same thing. There's this really sweet owner was taking care of a bunch of kittens that had just been born outside of his home, and he was trying to just help take care of them, and a few of them had their eyes matted shut. And he, for one, he couldn't afford to go into the veterinary clinic, and he worked during the day, so the veterinary clinic wasn't open during the times that he had free. So he was like, "This is it. Like, it's using Dutch and getting these, stray cat care or nothing." So I told him, "Hey, it would be great. You should take these kittens in person, please do." And he's like, "Doc, that's not happening." I'm like, "Okay, well then we're gonna help you. I'm not sending you away with no care." So I talked him through washing the eyes. The best way to wash these little kitties' eyes is actually to get like a washcloth and add some warm water. I asked him to bring the kittens into the steamy shower with him a couple times a day. He just kind of laughed at me. He's like, "Doc, I work." Like, and I was like, "Right, okay." But if you can bring the kittens and create kind of like a warm, humid environment a couple times a day, that's perfect. If you can't, we're here for you. I like the washcloth with warm water and kind of creating that steamy environment over their nose, clearing the eyes, clearing the goop. Green nasal discharge is a sign of infection. Um, we can prescribe an ointment, like a terramycin ointment, to help would treat a scratch if there was a scratch or a bacterial conjunctivitis. Sometimes, even though it's a viral disease that causes the eyes and discharge signs, they can get secondary bacterial infections. So that's a time, even though we try to be very judicious, meaning like only use antibiotics when they're really needed, that's a time when they might really be needed for a young animal that's got a bacterial disease. But if at any point you're seeing a kitten that's like panting, open mouth breathing, or looks really sick, is not eating, these kittens that I saw, they were like fiery and bouncing off the walls, had a great appetite. Feeding them wet, warm food is really good because it also helps loosen the respiratory secretions. These kittens were like they were spry, but if at any point the kitten is lethargic and um, not wanting to eat or have a lot of energy or open mouth breathing, that's an emergency visit. Like, do not pass go. Go straight into the clinic.
All right. Well, for those joining us, we have a few minutes left. We are Dutch Vet. We have real, not AI, real veterinarians who talk to you live, answer your questions. And we're here with Dr. Kate, our Chief Medical Officer, answering questions from viewers. We're here every Thursday. Today's episode features a promo code ITCHY50, ITCHY50. So if you go to Dutch.com, you can try Itchy50, and for $50, you can give us a try. We also have a promo for 20% our flea and tick medication using code FleaTick20. And we are in the middle of flea and tick season and talking about flea and ticks for cats. What's interesting, one thing that makes the Dutch membership special is that you can put up to 5 pets on your membership and you have same-day appointments available. So in that vein, we have a question from Christopher Sambrooks. He says, I have 5 dogs. Okay, so this might be a math problem. I have 5 dogs, 3 with allergies and skin conditions.
Okay.
So 3 have allergy and skin conditions. The 3 need something for allergies and will need flea treatments for all 5. Can you help with that?
Yes. Yes is the answer. And on one Dutch membership, we can take care of all 5 dogs. And so, yeah, you can have up to 5 pets on your membership. And we'll make an individualized care plan for each one of them. So absolutely, and you can talk about all of the different issues for each pet on each call with your veterinarian, and they're going to be licensed in your state and they're going to know the specifics of what are the most common things seen in that area. So yes, allergies and skin conditions and flea and tick treatments are some of the most common things that we see. So you're in good company, and our veterinarians are going to be really well versed in how to make a personalized care plan for all 5 of them.
This comment to me is, again, I think it's why Dutch was started, because if you had a visit for 5 dogs, that would easily cost you hundreds of dollars and half your day, and for $100 for a year of care. Because what's going to happen likely is this is fixed, but there might be another time when one of the dogs has something else happen, and to feel like you're not nickel and dimed, you've already paid for a membership, you can have this easy way to reach out to a vet. It's so cool, especially given the high cost of gas prices, that you don't feel like this is something you have to keep shelling out money for. And people feel like they can take care of their pets. That's why Dutch exists. So it's cool to see a complex case like this and feel like for $100, this can all be taken care of. Okay, next, Tammy McGee. I have 2 dogs. Again, the Dutch membership up to 5 pets, so that's good. I have 2 dogs, both on Heartgard and NextGard. Can you prescribe?
Definitely. Yeah, we can definitely prescribe HeartGuard and NextGuard. Those are 2 products that we carry. NextGuard is going to treat flea and ticks, and HeartGuard is going to do heartworm prevention and intestinal parasite prevention. I think it's a good time to also talk about heartworm prevention because I know we've got some questions about that, and we absolutely do prescribe heartworm prevention for pets through Dutch. It's also one of those situations where a personalized plan with your veterinarian is really important because, I mean, ideally, all pets in the US are going to be on a heartworm preventative. A lot, as a veterinarian, we want to eradicate heartworm disease from the pet population. I'm laughing a little bit because my kids just watched Lilo and Stitch, and the premise of Lilo and Stitch is that the earth is a sanctuary for mosquitoes. So I don't know if any of our listeners have kids and have also watched this, but I can't help but giggle because mosquitoes are like the bane of our existence a lot of the time, and they are what transmit heartworm disease from pet to pet. And so dogs that aren't on prevention can be a reservoir for heartworm because the mosquitoes bite them and then they transmit it to all other pets. So if you've got one heartworm positive dog in your area, they are a reservoir for all the pets in your area. So even if there's like one case, it's real. And we're starting to see heartworm spread into areas that we never thought, that there was going to be heartworm or that it wasn't as endemic. So heartworm prevention is good. And then the personalized plan is really important because when is it right to prescribe heartworm for your pet is just going to vary based on their region, when their last heartworm test was. Do we get them on a preventative right away? Do you need to test before you start preventative? These are all the kinds of questions that the pet parent should be asking and talking with your vet about. And we're really all veterinarians are on this mission together to try to reduce heartworm in the United States. And the best way that we can do that is having these conversations, getting pets on preventatives, all pets on heartworm preventative.
So then this is a question from Stay Hubbard. How does heartworm medications work through Dutch?
Yeah, so it's one of the parasite preventatives that we prescribe, just like the flea and tick medications. And so in order to get a prescription, you want to have the relationship with a veterinarian. So you would, through your membership, create an appointment with a veterinarian that's licensed in your state, and they're going to recommend the best plan and the best product and the best testing regimen for your pet. But we can absolutely ship heartworm preventatives, and we'll walk you through all the information. Just to say, like, one blanket plan for all pets wouldn't be doing our members justice, wouldn't be doing people justice.
Okay, I have to ask this one. We've got about a minute left.
Okay.
Karen Spin, I need flea treatment, hookworm treatment for cats, and I have 4 dogs and 15 cats.
Okay. So 4 dogs and 15 cats?
15.
15. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, so for cats, I'm just going to jump to hookworms. So we can absolutely treat for hookworms and should. And I'm wondering if you've had a fecal test done and because that's a specific type of intestinal parasite. So just know that you can have a fecal test done through Dutch, and you can also have a fecal test done after you've treated to confirm resolution, where you collect some stool and send that to the lab. Okay, so for cats, there are products that our veterinarians prescribe, like Bravecto Plus and NexGard Combo. Both of those will treat hookworms in cats. And then for dogs, Credelio Quattro, Simparica Trio, NexGard Plus, those isoxazolines will also treat hookworms. Those are all ones that we can prescribe. And I recommend treating everybody. Unfortunately, if you have one pet that tests positive for an intestinal parasite, you should treat all of the pets because they're all going to be exposed. Like animals, their noses are close to the ground. Those parasites can be on the ground, in the grass, in the area. So really treating everybody is the right way to go. And I think that it's prudent to do a couple of fecals after treatment to confirm that you've really gotten rid of the parasites. And then staying on parasite prevention year round is key.
Cool. Well, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Dr. Kate. We're Dutch Vet. If you want to check us out, please go to dutch.com, DUTCH.com. We will have our promo Itchy 50 running today for those who tuned in, and we'll be back next week on Thursday. We're going to change it up a little bit and go live at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 Central, and we're going to be talking and taking your questions. So if you're curious and you want to submit your questions, post them on our social channels and we'll address them on our next Dutch Vet live stream. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks for joining in.